is an expounder of Vedic injunctions. He is a teacher of the Vedas and the principle of this system is the essence of the realization of the Vedas. And for the purposes of the book that we are compiling, I have delved deep into certain conclusions of the Vedas so that I can unpack this difficult subject in a simple and coherent manner. And to understand this at its basic level, we need to understand the soul. So there are three types of souls existing since time immemorial. The first type of souls are the eternally liberated souls. The second type of souls are the liberated souls. And the third type of souls are the souls in bondage. The souls that are eternally liberated and liberated live in the spiritual universes, and the souls that are in bondage live in the material universe. This bondage is due to beginningless karma. This bondage is due to beginningless karma, and it is this karma that impels material creation. Had there been no karma, then there would be no material creation. So since time immemorial, we are living as souls in these two dimensions. We are living as souls in these two dimensions. So you would have heard in your lifetime that if you do good, you go to heaven, and if you do bad, you go to hell. And it stops there. Are we back? It's disturbing me. Heaven and hell are both situated in the material universe. The material universe is made up of 4 or 14 planetary systems. Earth is in the middle. So above Earth there are 6 heavenly dimensions, and below Earth there are 7 gross dimensions. Earth is the only planetary system where both the gross and the subtle exist together. Above Earth is the subtle planetary system, and below Earth is the gross planetary systems. Now, for you to understand the Guru principle in its correct perspective, we have to understand the purpose of creation. And as I've stated in previous discourses, that creation is impelled by the sum total of all living entities, the souls that are in bondage. So at dissolution, all the souls that are in bondage lives within the Supreme Lord in an unconscious state. And when karma impels the Lord to create, he has a thought, I am one, let me become many. And this thought creates a cloud in the spiritual sky. This thought creates a cloud in the spiritual sky, which is called the Mahat Tattva, the sum total of all material ingredients, or the causal ocean. The Supreme Lord then enters this causal ocean on Sheshnag, and he goes into a slumber. And when he breathes out, infinite amount of universes get suspended on this causal ocean like footballs. Then the Supreme Lord divides himself and enters each universe with all the material ingredients. Supreme Lord enters each of these universes with all the material ingredients, and he fills up these material universes half full of water. He then lies, and let's just take one material universe so that we can understand with clarity. He then lies in this material universe, and from his abdomen a lotus appears. And at the top of this lotus, the first living entity, Lord Brahma, is born. This lotus contains the sum total of all living entities. So I just want to affirm with some verses from the Bhagavad Gita, So the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 4, Lord Krishna states, earth, water, fire, air, ether, manas, buddhi, and ego sense, dash, thus my prakriti is divided eightfold. So these elements, these gross elements, together with the mind, the intelligence, and the ego, is the ingredient that makes up this universe. These ingredients, in the seed or subtle form, makes up this entire universe, and I'm confirming that this statement is made by the Supreme Lord Himself. Verse 5, verse 5, and I'm quoting, "This is my lower Prakriti, full stop. But, comma, O mighty armed one, comma, know that my higher nature is another. It is the life principle," and in brackets, Jiva Bhuta, comma, by which this universe is sustained. Verse 6, "Know that all beings have these two for the source of their birth," full stop. "Therefore, comma, I am the origin and the dissolution of the whole universe." So, the lower nature of the Supreme Lord is all the material ingredients, and the higher nature of the Supreme Lord are all the souls in bondage. All the souls in bondage. And when you mix the souls in bondage with the material ingredients in nature, the universe comes alive. When you mix these two, the material ingredients and the life principle, or the souls in bondage, that is me, you, and we mix this in material nature, the universe comes alive. So if you look outside, you see there's wind, there's trees, there's plants, there's a sun. All these are individual souls inhabiting the ingredients as supplied by the Supreme Lord. And of this, there are 8.4 million species. So the Supreme Lord has created 8.4 million species of vehicles. Species of vehicles which the souls in bondage occupy. So you occupy the vehicle of a frog, the vehicle of a snail, the vehicle of a human being, the vehicle of a Devi or Devta. These are all vehicles that the Lord puts you in according to your karma of your previous life. At dissolution, wherever the bondage souls, whatever their karma is merited, when the new creation takes place, as was the old creation, then these souls, these life principles or individual souls will take a body according to the past life merit. And the Supreme Lord is stating Himself that He is the origin of creation and dissolution. So creation takes place through the will of the Supreme Lord, and dissolution takes place through the will of the Supreme Lord. So I just brought in this verse for you to understand the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. And in chapter 10, verse 42, he states to Arjuna, "But of what use to you is all this extensive knowledge, O Arjuna? I stand sustaining this whole universe with a fragment of mind." So this these material universes is sustained by the Supreme Lord with just one small fragment. You understand? The rest of the Supreme Lord Himself is the spiritual universes where all the eternally liberated and liberated souls reside. We have to understand now that there are two concepts. One, the spiritual world or the spiritual universe where eternally liberated souls and liberated souls live with the Supreme Lord eternally. Then we have the material universes in which souls in bondage live continuously with beginningless karma. You would have noticed I'm not using the word eternal karma. I'm using the word beginningless karma, which means karma has been there since time immemorial, but it is not eternal. It is not eternal, which means that you cannot be binded eternally if you choose the right direction. You cannot be bound by karma eternally. It is there since time immemorial. It can stop. It can stop binding you at any stage of your life when you choose the karma to stop binding. You understand? So I want to get into the crux of the discourse itself. Okay, so creation has taken place. The first phase of creation has taken place. Lord Sriman Narayan is lying on the in the universe. From his navel sprouts the lotus, and at the top of the lotus, Lord Brahma is born. And Lord Brahma could see no one when he was born. Is that factual? If he is the first living entity to be born, will he find you anywhere? Will he see anything? He will see nothing, because he is the first living entity to be born. So he traverses this lotus up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, until he gets tired. And then he hears two syllables, Ta, T-A, and Pa, P-A. And when you put these two syllables together, what you get? What tapa means? Austerities and penances. So Lord Brahma goes into austerities and penances for 1000 celestial years, which is equivalent to 36,000 years or human years. 36,000 human years or 1000 celestial years. And after his austerities and penances, he gets knowledge from the Supreme Lord. He hears the Supreme Lord. And this is right at creation. So the Supreme Lord created the material ingredients. He took these material ingredients, of which there is 24, I will enumerate as we move along in this discourse, and he enters this universe. Then he sleeps on Sheshnag, and from his navel a lotus sprouts, and on top of that lotus Lord Brahma is born, and Lord Brahma undergoes austerities and penances for 1000 years, and now secondary creation is taking place. Which creation? Primary creation is by the Supreme Lord. Secondary creation is by the chief engineer of this universe. Chief engineer of this universe, Lord Brahma. Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 29. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Brahma, O depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation, full stop. What you are begging from me has already been granted before. And this is a point I am making continuously. I am stating creation is cyclic. Prior to this creation, there was another creation, and Brahma asked the same thing that he is asking now: how to create. So, cyclic creation is eternal, and I'm proving to you through all these scriptures that the relationship between Guru and disciple has to also be eternal. Creation happens as it happened before. All the players, all the life principles in creation were the same. Nobody falls. Nobody falls from the spiritual sky. Once you reach Lord Sriman Narayan, you never ever fall. You never ever fall. It means we, the souls in bondage, we were the only ones here before and in the subsequent creation. All the gurus that were the gurus of these souls were also in this creation at every cycle of creation. Then it is commonsensical. It is commonsensical that if I was your guru in your previous life, I was also your guru in your previous and previous and previous lives. I was your guru since creation. Does it not make logical sense? Otherwise you have to keep changing gurus. You have to keep changing gurus. I explained to Cyril just now, earlier on, that people that are here at the ashram that are following this system, people that are following this system, have to have merits to follow this system. Because the guru-disciple system, the guru principle is all about knowledge. Like in school, before you enter university, you must have qualifications of a matriculation certificate, yes? Then you can attain higher knowledge. Similarly, at this ashram, for you to be here, it means you qualified, you had merited, you had merits to be. Then Nirali would ask, Acharyaji, I'm here with you right from the beginning. What has happened to all the other devotees? Hundreds of them, Nirali? Over a couple hundred, near 1,000? So just like that in university, every year, Nirali, maybe 1,000 enter a particular category or subject. During the year, they play cards, they spend some time in the cafe, they're not listening to the lecturer. End of the year, when it comes to exams, they fail hopelessly. And after a while, you don't see them. Then when the course is finished, on the 4th year, from the 1,000 that entered, maybe there's 100 that writing the exam, yes? So why should it not happen here? We're the same human, only thing we're looking for different knowledge. Here, your merits are from a previous life. There in university, the merits are from the same life. You qualify in the same life, primary school, high school, university. Here, you have a lot of time. 155 trillion years, and you still with the Guru, what it means. Jai Bhai? No. You're here to fool around. Special class. 155 trillion years in this creation, and if you're still sitting in front of the Guru, after 155 trillion years, and you're still sitting in front of the Guru, what it means, Jai? Okay, but the fact that you are sitting in the presence of a Guru from the Sri Sampradaya. The Sri Sampradaya is the principal Sampradaya. It is the highest spiritual education from the Vedas existing today. Comes from the Sri Sampradaya, and I'll prove it as we move along scripturally. Everything we're going to do in this series of discourses, we're going to prove it scripturally. So if you are in the presence of a Guru from the Sri Sampradaya, which is the principal. What does principal Sampradaya mean? There are 4 Sampradayas. The Sri Sampradaya is the principal Sampradaya. What does principal mean? It's the highest. This education that you are receiving this morning is of the highest level of spiritual education. Okay? Which means that you had the highest merits in your previous lives to physically sit and listen to a Guru in his ashram today. It is up to you to maintain and sustain your stay, not the Gurus. Like you go to university, you want to study law, you go there the first year, you had merits to go there, isn't it? Through your admission, you had merits to go there, but if you don't follow your lecturer, you don't do your assignments, you don't do all the work that is required of you, then you will fail. So sustaining yourself in this system is entirely up to you. Okay, and again I'm going to show you, as per Vedic injunctions, how that is possible. So, verse, Canto 3, chapter 9, verse 30. The Supreme Lord tells Lord Brahma, O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. Full stop. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. So the very first living entity, although he is employed by the Supreme Lord as his chief engineer in the secondary creation, the Supreme Lord does not just give him the knowledge that he requires. And the Lord is setting a precedent here. Yes or no? If you want spiritual knowledge, you have to undergo austerities and penances. And it starts right at the top, the very first living entity. He is assisting the Lord in his creation. He was supposed to be favored by the Lord, yes or no? But there's no favors. Everything is absolute, everything must add up. And starting from Lord Brahma, he instructs Lord Brahma to undergo austerities and penances so that he can achieve knowledge on how to create as per the Vedas. All of you understand? Canto 3, chapter 10, text 13. From part 1, there's 2 parts to these books. I'm quoting from part 1 presently. And chapter 13 states, this cosmic manifestation is as it is now, comma, it was the same in the past, comma, and it will continue in the same way in the future. I just cannot help but finding these injunctions for you. What the Lord is saying. It's the Supreme Lord speaking. What is he saying? This cosmos now is the same as it was in the past and will be the same as it is in the future. Really? Which means whether you like this guru or not, really, this guru was your guru and this guru will be your guru and this guru is your guru, whether you like it or not. Just keep coming with all your bakings and cakes. Keep it flowing. Really? Keep it flowing. You have no choice in the matter. Nothing to do with your personal likes and dislikes. Whether you like the guru or don't like the guru. Guru was yours in the past. Guru is yours today. Nirali, what's the date today? 30th of July 2023. Guru is still yours. And 400-500 times, years time when I come back and you come back, I don't know which universe, but you'll be here. That is a guarantee. Alright. And that goes for everyone who's following this guru Even those that left Nirali, they have no choice but to come back. Same details of this canto, text 14. There are 9 different kinds of creation besides which naturally occurs due to the interactions of the modes, full stop. There are 3 kinds of annihilations due to eternal time, comma, the material elements and the quality of one's work. 15, text 15, of the 9 creations, comma, the first one is the creation of the Mahat Tattva, which I explained earlier, or the sum total of material ingredients, comma, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, comma, the false ego is generated, in which the material ingredients, material knowledge, and material activities arise. So I want you to understand this, and this is why I brought forth these Vedic injunctions. And I want you to understand this in simple, logical manner. Alright? This material universe only has 24 ingredients. How many? 24 ingredients. The 25th ingredient is the time factor. Is the time factor. These 24 ingredients, when you mix it up with time, they start interacting with each other, and everything that you see around you is manifested when it is mixed with time and the living principle or the living soul or the souls. Are you understanding? Basic ingredients of the universe, 24. How many? 24. When you mix it with time, they start to interact, and when you mix it with the soul, when you mix it with the infinite souls that exist in these bonded universes, then you get the universe becomes alive. You understanding so far? Understanding so far? Cyril, you understanding? So I'm just going to enumerate these 24 elements for you. Canto 3, chapter 26, book 2. This is from book 2. There are 5 gross elements, comma, namely earth, comma, water, comma, fire, comma, air and ether. Full stop. There are also 5 subtle elements, semicolon, smell, comma, taste, comma, color, comma, touch, and sound. So you got 5 gross and 5 subtle. How many that is? 10. In text 13, the senses for acquiring knowledge and the organs for action number 10. Namely, the auditory sense, comma, the sense of taste, comma, the tactile sense, comma, the sense of light, comma, the sense of smell, comma, the active organ for speaking, comma, the active organs for working, comma, and those for traveling, comma, generating and evacuating. How many you got now? 20. The internal subtle senses are experienced as having four aspects, in the shape of the mind, intelligence, ego, and contaminated consciousness. So how many ingredients you have now that I've enumerated in the universe? 24. Alright? And this is as per the Supreme Lord Himself. Years ago, when I used to have my services weekly at 4 centers, so I used to have 4 satsangs a week, and when I used to go to Nirali's branch, Nirali was the branch coordinator of the Phoenix branch, and in the comments of my Facebook posting after discourse, Nirali would write mind-blowing discourse. So I hope this series is going to be mind-blowing, but more mind-washing. More mind-washing, because if this series can wash your mind, I won't have to see you again in my next lifetime. And I just want each one of you to understand, if I'm seeing you for the past 155 trillion years, you think I want to continue seeing you? Rita?
I'll leave that to you.
So now I'm coming to the important Vedic injunction in terms of the Guru principles. I wanted to give you a background. I can't take you to the 3rd floor of a building without showing you the ground floor, 1st floor, 2nd floor. You might not understand the concept on how the building was built. But if I take you gradually from foundation level, then you're going to understand. And it is for these purposes that I went into the background. So you understand primary creation of the Supreme Lord, wherein through interactions we have 24 ingredients. That comes from the Supreme Lord Himself. Then we have the secondary creation by the chief engineer of the Supreme Lord, Lord Brahma. Now Lord Brahma is creating. Now Lord Brahma is creating. And I think this is the pivotal point, these 2 verses, that can make you understand the importance and significance of the Guru principle. So let's see what Brahma creates first. Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 2. Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 2. Brahma created the nescient engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration. I want you to say Jessica after frustration. I made a mistake. Anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception, or forgetfulness of one's real identity. This is the pivot of the material creation. Let's unpack this and let's understand this in its entirety. So after the Supreme Lord created all the ingredients, the 24 ingredients, the time factor that's moving, then the first living principle, the engineer for this universe, what did he create first? What, Sita, you got data on your phone?
Yes.
Nescience. Let's understand that word. Nescience. I see Jessica is also looking. Whoever finds it first will get a prize.
Okay, I got it. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Nescience is the lack of knowledge or awareness. It's ignorance.
Right, sure. That's all right. The rest you can read at home. Go home and go over and over. Guru just wanted lack of knowledge and ignorance. Now do you understand why 8 billion people are in ignorance of the absolute truth? Why 8 billion people have a lack of knowledge? Why? Lord Brahma computed in the atmosphere of this universe that the human mind must become ignorant and it must have a lack of knowledge. Nirali, are you relieved? You don't have to say, why am I so stupid anymore? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It has been injected in the universe by our Creator. Intentionally. Intentionally. If we have full knowledge, Jai Bhai, then what is the purpose of living in the material universe? Where would you be living? You'll be liberated. There will be no need for this material universe. There would be no need to create this material universe if the infinite souls that inhabit this universe have full knowledge of the Supreme Lord. What is the purpose of the material universe? So the material universe can only exist through ignorance. Through ignorance and lack of knowledge. Can you see how the universe has been computed at inception? Has been computed at inception. Then I think at this point let us understand the definition of a soul. What is the definition of a soul? What does the soul comprise of? Abir, pinch yourself somewhere. Pinch yourself somewhere and see if you feel anything. Okay, go Ashmika. Pinch it. Consciousness. The soul is made up of consciousness. This consciousness is enveloped in your body, right up to the edge of the surface, and when you get pricked anywhere, it is the consciousness through the mind which reacts as the impulse of the pain that you feel. Right? So the soul, the symptom of the soul is consciousness. Where there's consciousness, it means there's a soul. Where there's consciousness, it means there's a soul. What is the second attribute of the soul?
It's eternal.
Knowledge. The second attribute of the soul is knowledge. What knowledge? What knowledge? Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge. So the soul comprises of all the knowledge contained in the Vedas, and the Vedas is just a fragment of knowledge that is available, and all the other spiritual knowledge that is available. So every soul, every single soul is comprised of total spiritual knowledge. That is your composition, that's who you are. And that is why you look for knowledge from birth. You don't hear children Yajvan's age will ask you a question, why? When you give them an answer, then they'll ask you a question on that answer, why? And you give them that answer and they'll ask you a question on that answer, why? Have you noticed that? Who taught that child, a small child, to be inquiring all the time? From where did this child get this questioning from attribute? From where did he get it? Because his parents and grandparents didn't teach him why. And sometimes it gets very irritating after they ask about 50 whys. Not because it's irritating, because they beat you. You don't know the answer. Then you say, shut up. Yes? Alright? You understand? Like a small example, when we installed the Murti, Lord Narayan Murti in the front, Shweta was only 2 years old. She was 2, and she wasn't coming in the 2 years regularly to ashram, only the big occasion. But we sang the Om Namo Narayan mantra, and from that day she knew Om Namo Narayana. You understand? From the age of 2. She couldn't speak anything else. She used to say big cow to our Gomatas and Om Namo Narayana. From where did that knowledge come? That knowledge that as soon as she saw the Narayana Murti, she equated it with that mantra. From where did that knowledge emanate? Because her mother didn't teach her, her father didn't teach her, I didn't teach her, her other grandparents didn't teach her. But she just started saying Om Namo Narayana. Because that knowledge is in the soul. That knowledge is in the soul, and at that age, karma do not bind. At that age, karma does not make you ignorant or devoid of knowledge. And that is why you see young children playing guitars, because they played guitars in their previous life. They are singers, they are dancers. I saw a show, I think about 20 years ago on Oprah, all 4-year-old children, professionals. How they were professionals? Because they did that in the previous life and they recollected in this life. You understand? So the soul comprises of knowledge, consciousness and absolute bliss. The soul in its natural form is absolute bliss. So if the soul comes into the material atmosphere with its original attributes. It is blissful, it has full knowledge, and it is pure consciousness, then it will be in the wrong universe. Yes? If it can actuate itself in its fullness, then it's in the wrong universe. So the Supreme Lord, through Lord Brahma, made him create nescience. Made him create nescience so that the soul forgets its original status of full knowledge and absolute bliss and its consciousness. And look at what it did to all my ladies here. All the ladies here. This is Lord Brahma's fault that you are using lipstick, powder, all your makeup, Rita, your cosmetics. Tony, don't blame it on nobody. The culprit is Lord Brahma. He created this false identity that you are this beautiful body. Created when? Right at the outset. And that is why we all believe we are this body, not because we are stupid, it's because we have been impelled to do so. Our original status is intelligence. Like the fire cannot, there can be no smoke without fire, there can be no intelligence without consciousness. Consciousness and intelligence go together. You understand? So the prima facie position of the soul is always knowledgeable, intelligent, blissful, and pure consciousness. Yes? But after Lord Brahma injected the material atmosphere, we lost our identity and we are in false belief that we are this body. If I continue discoursing like this around the world, J-Pai, what will happen to all these cosmetic companies? They might start planning to put the Guru away. They can't sue me, but they can put the Guru away because they're going to lose millions. I don't know how many percent nearly of their salary goes on makeup. You understand? All of you? Rita? Next time you apply the lipstick, think of the Guru. Then the next verse, text 3. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, comma, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, comma, and therefore he purified himself by meditation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full stop. Then he began another term of creation. So after Brahma injected the material universes of this nescience, he did not feel good. Was he right not to feel good? because an infinite amount of living entities, their minds will be injected in proportion to the previous karma of the nescience that he injected into the universe. Yes? So in proportion to your karma, you will receive lack of knowledge and ignorance. In proportion to your karma. So you that are here should have gratitude to those that are not here. Can you imagine the proportion of nescience injected in their mind? You understand? Can you understand the proportion of nescience injected in their mind? You should have gratitude to Nirali and be here not only every Sunday, almost every day. All of you understand? When I say Nirali, I'm meaning everyone. But I try to use Nirali's name as much as possible and cover her absent when she's absent. So if I use her name 50 times in this discourse, it means she attended 50 satsangs. And here comes the Guru principle. Here comes the Guru principle. So when Lord Brahma realized that although it was necessary to inject all of these negativities into the atmosphere, when he realized it, he purified himself first. He purified himself first. It means any time that you have negative thoughts or negative interaction, you must stop at that point and cleanse yourself. Then you must start your righteous duties. Dana, what it means? Yeah, so if you did something wrong, stop that wrong, take a break, purify yourself. Easiest way to purify yourself, Om Namo Narayan mantra. Om Namo Narayan mantra. Purify yourself and then start afresh your righteous duty. So you're not mixed. You saw when Lord Brahma was creating nescience, then his consciousness became impure. Although it was an instruction from the Supreme Lord, but because he was creating negativity, what happened to his consciousness? It became negative. So he had to give up that negative body. By meaning negative body, he had to purify his consciousness until it became neutral, and now he is committing a righteous mission. Text 4. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sanananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. As I said, this is the most important discourse in understanding the Guru principle and the importance of a Guru. And the Guru is so important that even the Supreme Lord who created this universe has to follow a Guru when he enters this universe. That is how important the Guru principle is. And this is why I'm taking my time and I'm bringing in all these factors so that you can understand at the outset, at creation, that the Guru principle is one with extension. It doesn't come down the line. See, man has not been created yet. First living entity, Lord Brahma. Then the next living entities are the four Kumaras. They take four aspects of the Vedas and they teach these four aspects of the Vedas to other saints and sages who then teach those aspects ultimately to mankind. Do you understand? So, the birth of the Kumaras mean the birth of the Guru principle. The birth of the Kumaras mean the birth of the Guru principle. And let's look at it like this. Lord Brahma created the human lock through nescience. Lord Brahma created the human lock in your mind through nescience. Yes? And then Lord Brahma created the key to unlock the nescience in the human mind. And what is that key? To unlock the nescience in the human mind. What is that key? The Guru principle. Guru principle. Are you understanding it? Can you see it clearly as I'm explaining? Or you want me to go break it down even more? Lord Brahma created two principles. The nescience principle, because to live in this material universe, you have to have nescience. So Brahma created the nescience principle. Then, to unlock the nescience principle, he created the Guru principle. The Guru principle. So, in effect, the Guru principle is the transmission of actuated Vedic knowledge. What is the Guru principle? The transmission of actuated Vedic knowledge. Are you understanding? It got nothing to do with the human Guru. It got nothing to do with the human Guru. Don't look at the Guru in his human form. It got absolutely nothing to do with the Guru in his human form. It is this Guru in this human form is the essence. Is the essence of the transmission of Vedic knowledge to unlock the nescience that is computed in your mind. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this body, have a few years, it will perish, it will be gone. Today, you say it's the 30th of July 2023, I am merely representing the essence of the transmission of the Vedic knowledge to unlock your nescience. Today I am a representative of the actuated transmission of Vedic knowledge. Are you understanding? Don't focus on my beard. Don't focus on my dressing. And don't focus when I whack somebody. Don't focus there. Focus on the actuated transmission of Vedic knowledge to unlock your nescience. Are you understanding? If an electrician comes here and I ask him to connect a source from one plug point to another place where I can get a bright light, do I focus on the electrician or do I focus on him connecting an electric wire from there to there so I can see the light, where my focus should be. Jai Bhai, on the connection. So focus when I connect you to the Supreme Lord. Don't focus on me in my human form. Focus on my connection of you to the Supreme Lord. All of you understand? Can you see that without the Guru, without the Guru, you can never ever come out of your nescience. Nobody can get liberated without a Guru, because the key to nescience is, and where it is computed, it's already there in the universe. It is created by Lord Brahma in that fashion. The lock to your mind and the key to your mind. Can you see it? And can you see the importance and significance of a bona fide spiritual master? Can you see it? Are there any questions? You can, as we move along, you can question, you can put your questions on WhatsApp. I'm not restricting these discourses for the 17th of October, because I think it is very important. We shouldn't have any restrictions. We should move along and stop where we naturally stop. But I know the Supreme Lord, if He wants, He can make it possible for the 17th of October. But I'm seeing a lot of knowledge need to be brought in. Because as I said, even right up to this part of our discourse, you can go and Google, you're not going to get an understanding. Especially these two verses, side by side, has not been explained ever in this 5,000 years. You understand? So I don't want to rush, but with the Supreme Lord, anything and everything is possible. All of you understand? Are there any questions, Sita? So I gave Sita a boon in a year to get any amount of jobs. Any amount of, without coming to the Guru. Now, I think Sita must be on a 20-year job from the time she joined this ashram. She can just walk out of the job. She don't like anybody. Just walk out. Don't have to come to the Guru. Go to the next interview. Guru make sure she gets that job. And that's how Sita's Guru-disciple relationship is. Yes or no, Sita? Yes or no? How many what job number you are at now? From the time you met Guru? More than 20? So she is infinitely blessed, even in other lifetimes. Any job you want, Sita, is yours. Jai Shri Narayan.